Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. The other day I was parked up in a Tesco car park and a chap come over to me who was in the process of converting his Transit himself, showing him around mine, and he noticed I'd got a diesel heater, and he was looking how I installed mine as he was struggling for a location on his. So I thought I'll make a video for you guys, and hopefully it helps somebody out who's looking for a location on where to put theirs, or just generally any tips on how to install one. So let's check it out. Okay, so when I was figuring out where to put my heater, it took quite a bit of thinking about, because I was going to install it underneath the rock and roll bed in that back corner, but the thing is, I've got a lot of storage space under there what I use, so I ended up installing mine underneath the sink, which is just there. I also have put a vent hole in the back so it's getting plenty of fresh air. I've also raised it on some wooden slats. Basically that does help with installation by putting pipes in. You've not got to drill holes through the floor to put longer bolts in to fasten it down, so that is a easier way. Both pipes, hopefully you can see them, do run through the floor, so the exhaust obviously has to run through to the outside, and I've also put the air intake outside. Now that is very important that you do put the air intake outside, so you've got cold fresh air coming in, which helps the combustion, but I've also been told that they can sometimes backfire and you can get the fumes come out the air intake. How true that is, I don't know, but also the instructions do state that your air intake must be outside. I've also put a bit of foil around the holes just to protect the wood from kind of burning, just to reflect some of that heat off the exhaust, as they do get mega hot. Now you probably can notice mine's not totally flat, it is at an angle. Reason being, I made a bit of a mistake on the installation. When I drilled the second hole, I drilled it in the wrong position, and I come forward and it should have been back behind the first hole I drilled, which kind of did go wrong, but kind of actually helped me out in a big way with the fixing of the exhaust to the chassis, which I will show you in a few moments. So when I did make that mistake, the pipe, well, the ducting was too close to this cabinet piece here and it would not fit in. So by tilting it at an angle, it gave me enough space to actually get it round and come out there, because you do not want a tight crease or bend in the pipe, as the well, you not get a very good airflow really, and I think it can cause some problems with the heaters overheating. I've not decided to box mine in. You get some people who do put boxes over them, but with it being underneath here, it's don't really need it. Plus I think it does help keep it that little bit cooler, as they do get warm and give off some heat, and I think if you just had them boxed in, I think sometimes you can get some error codes that can cause them to overheat. and then you'll get an error code come up on your display. I'm not sure which one it is, but I've had this one installed a couple of months now. Not had any problems with it at all. I've had it running overnight. It is recommended, as if you've probably been looking around, that people do say if they've been running some hours, before you turn them off, give them a good blast for 10 minutes, which I do. I have mine roughly set at 20 Celsius, between 20 and 23, depending on how cold it is really. One other thing is, when you do finally get it all installed, prime the system all the way to the heater. And to prime the system, hold them two buttons at the bottom together, you'll get an H and then off. If you press the arrow up, the pump will start priming and it will say H on, and it will pump fairly fast and get all the air out of the system and take the fuel to the heater. So I'll show you under the van. Okay, so we're underneath the van. Hopefully you can hear me okay. It is a bit windy. So there's the air intake coming out, which I've just tucked up behind the heat shield of the exhaust. And the exhaust for the heater comes out of there, and I've put some exhaust putty stuff just around the hole just to seal it up. Goes along there, down there, and you can see the exhaust there. And I fixed mine to the chassis by the bolts there, and before I did screw them in, I did check with my local MOT centre to see if it will cause any problems, and they said no, that's absolutely fine. Just to put me own mind at rest really before I went making holes into the chassis. So that's how I've put my exhaust, which is plenty gap between that and the air intake. Heater from the other side of the van. So that's the hole for that, to get plenty of air intake to it. I am thinking of just putting a little vent over that just to neaten it up. One thing I was struggling with on the installation of where to put my fuel tank, the original one what come with it, and I've ended up putting it behind the driver's seat. Well strapped down, doesn't go anywhere, and it's just right. And as you can see, I'm using red diesel. The fuel line I've drilled in through the top, as I didn't fancy putting it down the bottom and risking any leaks with it being in this location. The metal pieces what come with it, I put onto the end of the pipe, so it keeps it weighted down, and it's about that far off at the bottom, somewhere around there, because obviously you don't want it sat on the bottom of the tank in case you get any water in the diesel, or if there's any sediment or muck, it will all go to the bottom and not get sucked up by the pump. In the instructions I got, it said to fit the filter as close to the tank as possible, so that's where I fitted mine. And then it comes all the way around there, and then obviously in there and to the pump. Now the pump, they do make a bit of a ticking noise, but I'm going to try something later where it's going to be suspended via cable ties, and that's supposed to help silence the pump. So yeah, that's how I've installed mine. Hopefully that'll help somebody who's probably struggling for a location, or just looking for some information on how it's done. And that is on my Ford Transit medium wheelbase. So hopefully that's helped somebody out, and drop us a like and subscribe, and catch you in the next one. Thank you, bye.